everyone, and welcome back to the Seven Towers Benefice Kids video. It's great that you've come back to do more singing, dancing, memory verse remembering, challenge completing and story listening. I've been really enjoying hearing the stories about the amazing things that Jesus did. He really is powerful, don't you think? I wonder what he will be getting up to in today's story. But before we start learning about today's miracle, we need to make sure that everyone is feeling nice and welcome. So why don't you go and see Karen and do the welcome song?
Last week we all sang really loudly to welcome Philippa. So let's make this week even louder. Are you ready?
Welcome everyone and say hello, say hello, say hello. Welcome everyone and say hello, I'm glad you came.
You're really good at this, aren't you? Shall we see if we can get a bit faster? Right, ready?
Welcome everyone and say hello, say hello, say hello. Welcome everyone and say hello, I'm glad you came.
You're all so good at these actions. I know, let's try it even faster. The fastest we can go. Are you ready?
Welcome everyone and say hello, say hello, say hello. Welcome everyone and say hello, I'm glad you came.
Phew, that's so fast. Did you manage to keep up? I almost did.
You really are getting so good at doing those actions. I hope you're feeling welcomed. I know I definitely am. In our videos, we've been looking at something that Jesus did. What was that word? Can you help me? I just can't remember. Can you think? I can, with the letter M. Can you tell me what the word was? The miracles. That's the one. Oh, thank you for helping me to remember. The miracles of Jesus. Oh, but see how forgetful I am. First, I forgot what the word was, and you've helped me remember that. But now I've realised I can't even remember what it means. It's a bit of a strange word, isn't it? Miracles. Can you remember what a miracle is? Can you think? Can you remember? That's it. That's right. Doing something that we as humans just can't do. Is that what you said? Yes. That's just right. Because we've heard about Jesus doing all sorts of things that I definitely couldn't do. And I'm sure you couldn't do either. In today's miracle story, Jesus does a miracle right after waking up. What's the first thing you like to do when you wake up? When you wake up? Why don't you pause the video and talk to your family about it? Did you find out what you all like to do when you've just woken up? Did any of you like to have a big hug? I know I do. It makes me feel all safe and loved. In fact, a hug might be quite nice right now. I might go and see if I can find my daughter Evie to have one. See you later.
Hey! Ho! Here we go. Hey! Ho! Nothing's too big, big, big for his power. And nothing's too little, little for his care. Nothing's too big, big, big for his power. And nothing's too really, really for his
Now that we're nice and warmed up from our song, are you ready for your challenges? Do you think you'll complete them all this week? You do? Oh, you're super confident. Well, let's see. So our first challenge, we're going to pretend that we're on a boat. And to move that boat, we need to row. So we're going to do 15 rows. Are you ready? Let's do it together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I just about managed that one. I won't be very good rowing a boat at all. So for our next challenge, we're going to have 15 seconds to name as many kinds of weather as we can. Are you ready? The time will start on the screen now. Sunny. Rainy. Snowy. Windy. Hailstorm. Oh, I've run out of time. I got 5. How many did you get? Well done if you beat me. So for our third and final challenge, I want you to get in a really funny or silly position. You can put your arm over your head, you can put a finger up your nose, whatever you think's funny. But what you need to do is stay still, stay exactly where you are. So I'm going to get my joke book, and what you need to do is stay really calm and really still whilst I read my jokes. No laughing and no moving. Okay, you ready? So our first joke is, what do you call a dinosaur that's sleeping? A dinosaur. These are brilliant. Why did the student eat his homework? Because the teacher said it was a piece of cake. And what do you call a duck that gets all A's? A wise quacker. These are some brilliant jokes. Why can't Elsa have a balloon? Because she'd let it go. You must have found that one funny. And another one. How do you stop an astronaut's baby crying? You rock it. I can see you finding these hilarious. Well, my final joke is, what did the one volcano say to the other? I love you. Did you laugh? Or did you stay really still? If you stayed really still, I'm really impressed, because these are my best jokes. Or maybe they weren't really very funny and I need some more practice to make you so you can't stay all still and calm. Now I'm going to go and practice. Why don't you head across to Karina to hear about our story for today?
One night, after a long day of teaching the people, Jesus decided to get into a fishing boat with his disciples and go across the sea to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, Jesus and his friends got into the boat. When they had sailed to the middle of the sea, a storm began to kick up waves. The wind was howling and the rain was coming down really heavy. The boat rocked back and forth and up and down over the waves. The storm grew stronger and more furious. Jesus had fallen asleep almost as soon as the boat left the shore. Even though the sea was tossing the boat around, he was still fast asleep. He must have been really tired. But his disciples were beginning to get really afraid. They tried lowering the sail and throwing out the anchor, but nothing worked. Jesus was still asleep. They bailed out the water, but the storm raged. Jesus was still asleep. The boat was close to sinking, and, yes, you guessed it, Jesus was still asleep. Finally, they couldn't last any longer. They woke Jesus up. Teacher, don't you care if we drown? With that, Jesus stood up in the boat and shouted, Quiet! Be still. The storm died down, the waves grew calm, and the boat that Jesus was on stopped sinking. Jesus looked at his disciples, who who were now soaking wet and shaking with fear. He said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Didn't you believe that I would take care of you?" The disciples were no longer afraid. They were amazed. They turned to each other and asked, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him."
Wow, Jesus is so powerful that he can control the weather. Did you have your listening ears on today? Shall we see how many of my questions you can answer? Come on then. What did Jesus and his friends get into at the beginning of the story? They got into a boat. What kind of weather started when they were in the middle of the sea? A storm started. There was really heavy wind and rain. What was Jesus doing whilst all this crazy weather was happening? He was fast asleep. How did Jesus calm the storm when he eventually woke up? He just spoke, saying, "Quiet, be still." How did you get on? Are you getting better at these questions? You must all be super listeners. Well done. In our story today, the disciples were in a boat during a storm. It must have been quite dark for them. We have lighthouses to help boats to see in the dark. God is like our lighthouse, helping us get through tricky storms in our lives. Should we go and sing about that? Great. Come on.
In my wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence, you won't let go. In the questions, your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Tomorrow brings. With each morning I'll rise and sing. My God's love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are my light, my lighthouse, shining in the darkness. I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore.
day that must have been for the disciples. First, to be caught in that terrible storm, and then to see Jesus take control of the weather and change it with only a few of his words. At first, they were scared, but then Jesus calmed the storm and their fears disappeared. Shall we try an experiment to see what happens when we let Jesus take care of our fears? I've got a glass of clear liquid. This represents you. And some white baking soda, sort of white powder. That represents the things that scare us. And in this small glass, I have some oil to represent Jesus. So first, I'm going to sprinkle those things that scare us into my glass of clear liquid. Whoa, can you see it bubbling? That's like us being scared. But look, when I add Jesus into the mix, slowly but surely, everything calms down. Jesus can help us to stay calm, even when things are scary, just like he did in the storm in our story. Shall we talk to Jesus and thank him for always promising to help us stay calm when things are worrying us? Jesus, when I'm worried or frightened, help me to remember that you are always nearby, and that knowing your love, I can be brave and stay calm. Amen.
Okay, so it's been a few weeks since I've done our memory verse. I don't think I can quite remember it. Can you? You can? Brilliant. So do you think you would help me? Oh, thanks. So let's give it a go together. The things that are impossible, thanks, for people to do, are possible for God to do. Thanks for your help. I think I've just about jogged my memory now. So should we try it a little bit differently? This week we've been learning about how Jesus calmed the storm for his disciples on the boat. Now his disciples were really scared when this storm was happening, and they wanted to wake Jesus up, so they were really loud. Should we be really loud for God? We should. Great, let's give it a go in our loudest voices. Are you ready? So the things that are impossible for people to do are possible for God to do. Wow, that was really loud. I think if we're going to do that again, I need some ear protectors. So when the disciples woke Jesus up and he calmed the storm, they went really calm. Now when you're calm, you might talk quite quietly. Should we now whisper our memory verse together? Okay. So the things that are impossible for people to do are possible for God to do. Did you give it a go? I couldn't hear you if you did. You were so quiet. Should we try it one more time? But let's see how fast we can do it this one. Okay? Let's go. The things that are impossible for people to do are possible for God to do. Did you keep up? You've been getting really good with these memory verses.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's video as we learnt all about how Jesus performed the amazing miracle of calming the storm with just his words. And we saw that incredible experiment about how Jesus can calm our fears. I hope you have a great week full of fun, laughter and happiness, always remembering that God loves you and will always look after you. Don't forget to practice that memory verse. Maybe you could teach someone else it. And of course, don't forget our weekly challenge that will be on Facebook tomorrow morning for you to have a go at during the week. Have fun. Bye.